Welcome back to Senior Talk Radio here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. This is Project Independence and You. I'm your host, John Ryan, and my co-host today is Otto.
Morning again, John.
And didn't we have a wonderful time? I think that Deborah was a very, very knowledgeable person in reference to aging. And I think is what we talk about, you know, Otto and Kristina all the time, in that do it. You're a senior doesn't mean you got to go into a closet and hibernate until you die. Go out and do something every day.
You know, I could see somebody like Deborah running a Project Independence chat where people talk, at an advisory committee meeting or some meeting where not everybody who's there is of the ilk that they're already doing stuff, where you get a mixture of people so that maybe the people who are on the fence can get a little motivated to do things because of somebody like her talking. I was skeptical, to be honest with you, in the beginning. I'm saying, well, how old is she? Well, she's pretty sharp lady, a very sharp lady, and clearly understands what goes on in aging, even though she's not old yet. She's getting older if she's listening to this, but
I think you said something, but it's so true. What is age? And I think that's what's woken up. And that's why I mean this so sincerely. And Kristina, we're in the middle of Kristina. We didn't announce it, but we're in the start of the Kristina Lou show. But Kristina says the same thing about you. You are the poster child. And I think, I would have loved to have gone through my entire life with you, because you're nothing but somebody to follow. You're a role model. That's what I'm looking for. That's the word I'm looking for, a role model. And it has nothing to do with age. Whether you're 30, 40, 50, 80, 100, if you want to do something, you're going to do your best to do it. You make a list. You don't sit home. And we have a client, Peter and I, who retired 2 years ago, maybe 3. And now she needs help. And we organized somebody to go in, from an agency we deal with. But bottom line is, when she retired, she bought the biggest TV to catch up on TV, and literally has done nothing in 3 years. Hardly leaves the house, and her health is failing, and yada yada yada. What do you expect?
Well, that's a cardinal rule that we have set up in our house. All right, with rare exception, we'll never put the television on till 6:30 at the earliest.
Okay.
And most of the stuff we watch is recorded, so we don't worry about missing a show or whatever. We'll catch up on it. And we'll only watch a half hour of news because if you watch, like I have a friend of mine, a good friend, who we've been friends since we're kids, like 12, 11 years old. But he's got a negative feeling about everything because he watches the news all day long, from morning, noon to night. And if you watch it long enough, you hear all the crap that goes on in plain English. Eventually it's going to wear you down. There's so many good things going on around us. We really have to work at looking at the good. There's a lot of bad stuff. There's no question about that. I'm not walking around here with my head in la la land. I understand that there's bad stuff goes on. I've witnessed it. I've been part of it, unfortunately. But I found that was important. Like you said, get the big TV. I want to get a big TV too, to be honest with you, but it's a little bit of a family discussion right now. We have a big one, but I want to get a bigger one.
That's right. You got that big TV, Otto.
Yeah, but Bunny says it would take up the whole wall. I said, so it takes up the whole wall. But anyhow, the point being, you got to change your habits a little bit because otherwise you're going to sit there all day. You're going to watch whoever's on in the morning, and you're going to watch throughout the day, and and after a while you don't even want to get out of the chair because you get stiff from sitting in the chair all day. You got to break that somehow.
I want to go to Otto's TV now, and two things: Otto's TV and my partner Peter's couch in his den, because he's getting a new couch. And we bought a new TV. We got a big one. And my wife was like, how are we going to watch it? Like her and I can watch it. But like when the kids come over, I said, but the TV is for me and you. When the kids are over.
Right, John, you tell them.
And I told Peter the same thing. I said, Peter, he's trying to get some sectional with a piece and a yada, yada, yada. I said, why? It's for you and your wife. And so when you're watching TV or in the den, he likes to lay down, be comfortable. You're not buying a couch or a TV or anything in your life for the days when everybody's together. Yes, I like it when all my kids are around, but we have more private days or it's just Steph and I. And so I want the TV and we look right at the TV and that's the end of it. So
You know what? That's
TV, Otto.
It's funny you bring that up because the sectional is also a point of discussion.
I love this. See, this is real life talk.
We don't have a gigantic living room, but whenever the kids come over, the 50-year-olds,
Right.
children, they come over and they're always saying, you should really have a sectional here. We could sit around. And naturally my wife's thinking, no, that's a good idea. And I'm saying, yeah, but most of the time, like 99.9% of the time, it's you and me. We're sitting in our recliners, which are about 10 feet from the television. And the rest of the room is really configured for that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you bunny could just move around chairs, you could just decide where you want to sit. It leaves options.
Well, so far we knocked out the sectional idea, but Peter's going to go for the sectional.
No, he's opted for the couch.
Oh, okay.
And I said to him, it's you, and I'm not telling stories. He's not here today, but one daughter lives in Rochester. He goes up there like once a month. She comes down. They're not always, and when they're down, you're not sitting watching TV. They go out to dinner. You're in the backyard in the summertime. You have to make a room comfortable for you, the major inhabitants of the house. We have a living room and I don't care what you do other places. That room, the den, is mine, and I want to be comfortable. That's the end of it. So
that's right, John. You
I tell everybody,
whip, John.
That's even from a client. No matter what you're doing in life, you got to look at yourself first. Not being selfish. You have a partner. Everybody here, talking with Kristina and Otto, we're fortunate that our spouses are here with us. So it's you too. Go forward and come up with what suits you best. For a holiday, you can rent chairs, you do something, you'll figure that out,
Yeah, well, you know what I think it is too, it's all it's all really part of this discussion is that, so much of, everyone's life, was being a parent, and so that focus of, all right, we have to have it comfortable for everyone is, I look at my mom, I'm not a mother yet, but my mom, I see how she is, and she's, we're still her babies, and it's always, what do they need? It's making everyone comfortable, and forget it. It's besides me and my brother, she is like a mother to my cousins, who's living here now, and my other, and his siblings, so it's because Jay left, because Jay came from more of a family, that wasn't as catering as the Fennell Lou household here. But, he's like, oh, you're all a bunch of spoiled brats. I'm like, well, that's just how we grew up, but it's so something, and John's right, it's, right now it's you and Steph, and that's who should be comfortable in this. And it's your little core, and I think it's a hard kind of habit to break though, because so much of life has been spent, accommodating, the whole family, with things, so it's definitely an interesting, relatable topic. So I have
it's the truth. And I think it's conversational from that point of view. You have to take, and this is not being selfish. You have to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
And still consider the other people. But how many times is everybody coming to watch a TV? And Otto, I know you set up the ball game like in the backyard if you're doing an event.
Yeah, I did it in the garage.
Okay, but then you're creating the event. That's a whole different story. But just on a Saturday night or whatever, you're home and at 7:00 you're going to watch a movie. You and Bunny have to be the most comfortable, not when the kids do come over.
Well, we're the only ones watching the movie, so.
That's the point.
You know what? And as far as the TV goes, listen, I love a television. I love shows. It's quite, but you know what I have to say is, I kind of grew up, right? So our household is one of those houses that every room has a TV going on, between my mom, my dad, my brother, we're a very noise centered kind of family. It's very bizarre when things are quiet. We think something's wrong. But I think the key is that if you have the TV on, you need to be moving around, right? So it's very rare that I'm just sitting there just watching the TV. You know, it's I'm cleaning or I'm crafting or I'm organizing something random. So I think that that's the key, is really kind of just finding that balance. And listen, what Deborah said in the beginning, you know, one of her segments was so interesting, because she was saying, listen, if you are content and happy and feel, you know, fulfilled in whatever your life is and you're doing, then keep on that track. You know,
Right.
I think that that was, you know, that struck me, because listen, there's, you know, I mean, we all, I think, know certain people that we look and we're like, what, you know, like we can't imagine, but listen, they're perfectly content in their world. So then I guess, you know, more power to them at the end of the day. But I think that that's really the thing that needs to be thought out. Like, am I living, you know, a life that I want to live, you know, at the end of the day? And I think that that was really
That's an,
cool.
you're right. I mean, you know, we preach this, but that doesn't
Yeah.
mean everybody has to be
Right.
like
And
that.
that's what I always want to make, you know, clear. It's just some
Yeah.
people, it's not their cup of tea.
I
So.
think she used the word "stay in your lane."
Yes.
Yeah, I
You
like
know?
that.
Yeah. I wrote that down, as a matter of fact, because
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
because it
remember
stuck with
hearing
me
that
too.
too
Because,
often.
yes,
You know,
totally.
you know. But if you're happy in your lane, stay there.
Mhm.
You know, there's nothing that says you have to be like such and such. You know, you don't have to be.
No, and I think too, listen, because I'm very easy, I can get caught up in it myself too, because my nature is one of like a go, go, go. Obviously, in this current world, you know, things had to like slow down, you know, because you couldn't necessarily do all the things you wanted to do. You know, so I think it's just something, and it really is all about balance, because I think on the flip side, you know, it's like you feel, you know, it's this FOMO kind of mentality that you need to keep going and going and going, and you're missing out if you're not doing this. But, you know, I think it's also important too to have those, you know, downtimes when you are with your, you know, significant other or your friend or your whoever it might be, you know, just watching a show, you know. So I think that that's it's all finding that, you know, balance, because it just it can be crazy both ways.
No, I'm agreeing with you 100% there. And it's a topic that can go on forever. But at the end of the day, everybody has to just be comfortable within themselves. And if you don't want to go out and mingle with people, there's no reason to, because it might make you more stressed.
Right.
But anyway, at this point in time, we're taking our first break. You're listening to Senior Talk Radio here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio, or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Welcome back to Senior Talk Radio here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. This is Project Independence and You. I'm your host, John Ryan, and my co-host today is Otto Los.
Hello, John.
I didn't say it earlier, but we're in the midst now of the Kristina Lou show. And the first segment, we just continued on from Deborah, which was wonderful. But how are you, Kristina?
I'm good. You know, it's just I'm enjoying my Friday. It's a nice sunny day outside, and talking about this topic, which, you know, is kind of goes with our whole essence of our show, is just great. So, and, you know, I love to give my tips. You know, I'll have to give my daily outdoor activities, which I've been trying to do. So I followed in my favorite Otto's footsteps this weekend, and on Sunday afternoon, I walked with my husband at Jones Beach. Which was really nice. I was hoping, I think, Otto, you're there in the morning. I was hoping we would, you know.
Where did you go?
We did the boardwalk and we walked on the beach.
Parking lot? Which parking lot?
We were in field. I don't even remember which one we were in.
We usually go to parking field 6.
Yeah, I don't know if we were in 6. We might have went to 6.
Well,
I don't even.
I saw pictures, actually. You were on the other end down by Robert Moses.
Well, that was the other day. So I did 2. I did 2 walks.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So that was, yes, we did Jones Beach, which was lovely. And then we did, which was really nice, which was my favorite part. You know, like I was saying, my husband and I, we're always reflecting on things. We were saying what was so about being in this COVID time, you know, it forced you to kind of explore the island, right? And New York on a bigger sense too. You know what I'm saying? I've lived here my whole life with Jay, and we go out, we do all kinds of things. but like we had to kind of think outside the box, doing outdoor things. So we obviously loved the beach, the two of us. And he was talking to one of his coworkers, and his coworker said, go to Robert Moses. There's a great boardwalk. You can walk right to Fire Island. I'm like, what? So I was like, why do I not know what this is? And so we went. We were both we were off on a Wednesday, which was nice because it was very quiet there. And we went and it was so incredibly beautiful. And like, listen, you could have kept walking to go further into Fire Island, which is something we want to do, when it's warmer and more things are open. But it was a beautiful day. It was this really nice boardwalk that looked super brand new, and it was very scenic. And it was just so nice to walk. And then all of a sudden we ended up at this really cool lighthouse,
Yes.
in Fire
You
Island.
walk past the lighthouse and then
Yeah.
you keep going into Fire Island.
Yeah, so it was just, and like I said, it was so nice because it's still kind of off season, and it was a Wednesday. So it was really, no one around, Jay and I, and it was just so lovely. And I was like, what? We were both looking at each other. We're like, what a great, thing that we just, discovered, together. Because we used to go to Rob Moses all the time, never thought about any of this kind of stuff. So, we were spreading the word to our friends because we're like, it'd be such a nice activity just to go, walk into Fire Island. So.
And then in the nice weather, which I've done, you can sit outside and have lunch.
Yeah,
totally. It's a nice place.
That's all I need. You put me outside on a beach with a scenic view. There's nothing else I really need in life. So I encourage people, we're trying to find different kind of places to walk around, and especially, the weather was so beautiful this week, we were trying to take advantage of that. So it was really a nice little breather. We were taking our deep breaths and just walking through. It was a nice little escape, for a midweek escape, I should say.
I just want to backtrack for a second to the stay in your own lane. Mm-hmm. If you're happy there. I know a lot of people that love to read, and I read, but I'm not a prolific reader. A lot of people are. People who like to read, they're fortunate too. They have a blessing. That's something they enjoy. So if you stay in that lane, so be it. I happen to, one of my breaks is I like to once in a while do a jigsaw puzzle, and I have a couple of daughters that do them. So we exchange puzzles. And when I do the puzzle, I'm like in another land. I don't think of anything, but I wouldn't do that every day, all day. But my point being that it isn't always that you have to be in a big social environment.
Right, of course.
A lot of people love to read, and that's a great thing if you love to read.
That's such a, it's so funny you said that, Otto, because that's such a big part of so many people in my family. My grandma was like an avid reader. Listen, I go more the audio book kind of world, but that's kind of just how my brain works. I love to do things and move around and listen to it. But, and my aunt and my cousin, they're constantly, and that, you're right, that's their escape, for that, reading in that book, takes them away. And that's what I'm always saying, everyone's got to find just kind of their thing, and I think it's important to know, that you might not get it, but if it's their thing and that's what makes them feel happy, I think at the end of the day, that's really it. That's, it's
no, you just said something, Kristina. It's so true. If they get it, my interpretation of what you just said, nobody can judge what somebody else likes to do.
Yeah.
I read, but I might be hot for a couple of days and then I don't go back.
Right. That's like,
so everybody has their thing, and they have the thing that they have to do every day.
Right.
I keep threatening I'm going to walk and try to catch Otto on a Sunday, but then of course Sunday comes next Sunday, eventually. But the point is, find something that you enjoy and stick with it. That's all. It's a little bit of a relief valve or whatever you want to call it. Otto, you do a lot of, whether it's the bowling and golf as the weather gets better and stuff like that. Nobody's saying when you're good or bad. I don't care what you're in the good or bad. If you have a good time, you're with some friends, that's it. Kristina, your rides to the beach, they're wonderful. Somebody else will turn around and say, what are you wasting your time and gas driving out to the beach every weekend? Guess what? It's a peaceful opportunity for you and Jay. You do it.
It is too. And I was saying to Jay, which I've said definitely before on the show, what's so cool about living on Long Island, and I've certainly appreciated it more, during this time, even so, is that you really can have like a little taste of everything. I can go to the beach, or I can go walk around a wooded area, or if I want to go to, eat at a restaurant, that looks more urban. I could do that, like, so you can kind of get a little taste of everything. And listen, where I live, it's so central. So wherever I shoot out, it's like the running joke is it takes me like 15 minutes to like get everywhere. But it's certainly, I think we need to step back and realize that there are a lot of really great things you're able to do on the island. Listen, especially obviously when the weather is nice, it makes life a little easier, and the vitamin D out there certainly, I think, can help us all with our mental health. But I think that it's something, we could all stand to do.
Well, just to go back to the reading for a minute, what my wife Bunny does is they have a group of people and they put their initials in the book when they read it, and they switch books around.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I love that.
So people are always trading books and talking about the books and whatever. So, I mean, if that's what you like to do and that's your lane, great. I think probably we may tend to push the other approaches, but I think the key thing that's coming out of this right now is that if you're happy where you are, good for you. That's what matters.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you're not going to convert the world to your thinking. We have a little bit too much of that going on in the world as it is. Everybody's entitled to have their own life and their own way they want to do something. That's the way.
That's a great point. I think everyone can realize that, and certainly, I've opted to like just tap out and not watch the news at all. I'll get my alerts on my phone, and then I'll stay because I really got sucked into that hole when this whole pandemic started, and it was totally, and I saw it affecting my mood, and like I said, it was just, I was very emotional all the time, and everything, there were so many contradictory, and that's what I've had to like separate from, because we're in a society that's really unfortunately polarizing. There's this side, and then everyone's, and if you don't, and there's never like this happy medium, which frankly is where I fall usually in life. I'm really not like a polarizing character, and I'm always one like, well, I can understand what they're saying. Oh, I can understand what they're saying. I'm like the worst at overanalyzing what everyone does, but I think that that's what's really important, and that's what we always want to say on this show. Like, listen, we're giving our suggestions, and it might help someone out there, or you might be like, good luck, enjoy what you're doing, but I'm going to pass, and that's cool too. We're just trying to, I think it's finding that right now. And that's the most important thing.
The happy medium are good words.
Yeah. I say it all the time. That happy medium is kind of like just my
Yes.
try to stay in the happy medium, right? I don't need anything too crazy or too wild going on, but.
You know what it is too? Some of the things like say Kristina does, or other people, you don't even think about them. So it's just a sharing. All of a sudden you say, well, that's not a bad idea.
Right.
To go for a walk, to go get in the car and drive to a place for breakfast. And that's something I even brought up with Steph recently. I said, Steph, we should just, because I know Kristina, you'll go someplace for a lunch. I said, we should just take a ride someplace. And if you don't win, eat outdoors, take it home, and then come home. But you went out for a couple of hours.
Totally.
And we have fun in the car. We're always talking. My wife.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like a drive, because listen, I hate driving myself, but my husband loves driving. He has no qualms, Jay, about driving anywhere or doing anything. So it's great. I get to be the passenger and control the music and just, talk or whatever. But I think that that's something so simple too. If you are fortunate to still be driving, just taking a little drive somewhere and parking, it's like, we're not saying you need to go out, and to a restaurant, but that John had a great point, get takeout, and you can go eat outside, eat in the car. I mean, I've done that numerous times with my husband.
Well, just what you described, John, Monday or Tuesday was a nice day this week. I forget which day, but it doesn't matter. Bunny and I drive over to Port Washington, Hempstead, or North Hempstead Beach Park, it's now called. And I'll go for a walk. We bring 2 chairs. She brings the book and sits by the beach, basically. And I take a half-hour walk, come back, sit for a couple of minutes, and then we go to Wendy's and have a big lunch.
Okay.
And, but like you said, you spend some time in the car, you talk,
Yeah,
it gives you a little bit of a different exposure. And then when we come home, a lot of times we both kind of do what we do, you know. She likes to read or whatever, and I'll putz around and do what I do, you know.
Right. Just because you're in the house together doesn't mean you're interacting all day long.
No,
You
no, I
need
mean,
time to go out to do something.
yeah, I don't think it would be normal if you did interact all day long, but maybe I'm not normal. I don't know.
That's a show in and of itself, Otto.
I love it. No,
We'll
but it's
hold that one
really,
off.
it's certainly, I think everyone's got great, and like, listen, that's what I use social media for, right? Like, I like to say, and it gives me ideas and suggestions, and that's primarily what I like to use it for, right? So I'm not the one who's posting crazy stuff, I'm kind of try to keep it light and positive, but that's my choice, right? And I think that that's my favorite part, is finding different things or suggestions, that people do, and using it. Listen, some things work, some things don't. So
Absolutely. Actually, what we're going to do right now, we're going to take another break. You're listening to Senior Talk Radio here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
Welcome back to Senior Talk Radio here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. This is Project Independence and You. I'm your host, John Ryan, and my co-host today is Otto Los. And we're in the middle of the Kristina Lou Show. And at the break, we were just talking that commencing, next week, from 11 to 11:15, we're going to be having Nassau County Executive Laura Curran on, and she's going to be giving us a COVID update. I mean, there's a lot going on, and stations are being popping up all over. We're fighting this thing. We're winning the battle. There's no question about it. I don't have the exact number of people that have been vaccinated, but I believe it's somewhere in the 100 million range, or if we're not there, we're close to it. And we still have a long way to go. And nobody.
But it's so in the right direction, which is
going in the right direction, but you still have to be safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
You still have to wear your mask, and you got to be conscious of the other person. But that's the kind of stuff that we're going to try to bring to your attention, and Laura's going to be here. And that's how we'll be starting off the Kristina Lou Show, is with, Laura, and then to Kristina.
Cool. I'm excited.
It's going to be good, Kristina. I think it'll work out nice. Laura was very happy. And it's an important subject.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Listen, and I think, and that's something that it's just cool to be on this, listen, we're a year in. We were just talking earlier during the break that this is like our second St. Patty's Day, virtual. And it's, here we are, we're kind of starting that year again, and listen, it's great. It's uplifting, and that's the nice thing when I get these positive alerts on my phone saying, Cuomo has changed the travel restrictions. You don't have to quite. So it's like you hear these things that are giving, restaurant capacities opening. So it's all these little things that, and those are the kind of alerts I like to get on my phone, and I love to share that with my family. See, things are getting better. And it's just it's these little glimmers of hope that I think we all certainly need. My rainbow is still a year later on. I'm staring at it right now. In front of me on my big kitchen window, because I started to get a little superstitious. I was a little scared to take it down. It came to a point. I was like, I don't know. And I'm normally not that way. I was like, Jay, I'm not sure. I just feel like maybe we should leave this up. So Jay's like, well, listen, it goes with the St. Patrick's Day theme. So clearly Jay's been with me for a long time. That he's realizing that the rainbow goes with my whole St. Patty's vibe right now, which is very nice. But I think that it's great because, listen, from the beginning of this, we've been fortunate enough to give out our information that we're getting from the town, plus have all these different, government officials on that we're giving firsthand information about stuff. And the fact that, Laura Curran can come on and do that too, I think it's just part of the whole, journey of how things have been going. So
it's tremendous. And even in North Hempstead, I know, was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, so we've been quite busy over at North Hempstead. I'm still in a blur. It's been a good, all good stuff, but very intense and busy because we were fortunate enough to have 3 different pop-ups for vaccinations that were given out over the past 2 weeks. So it was over, I think, 1,100 people received vaccinations, which was
Oh,
amazing, especially for the fact that our turnaround time was like 2 days of getting all those people there and figuring that out and coordinating it. So it's great, and I'm sure there's going to be more. So it's just it's good stuff, And I have to say, North Hempstead has and continues to be at the forefront of just innovative and connecting to the communities. It's just really it's a cool place to work during this time because you really are making a difference, and it's really just it's good. So.
Well, you say a cool place to work, that really registers because Project Independence deserves a tremendous amount of credit during this time. And that's Project Independence is not a soulless entity. It is made up of people like you, nurses, social workers who reach out and do a lot of great things. And I don't think people realize how much gets done. I don't even realize it. But I know every day, all day, people are in contact with people who need help. And that's a great thing.
I know, and we laugh because I feel like sometimes we don't even realize what's going on, until it's like, it comes time
hey,
for.
don't be, please, don't say that. We don't know what's going on. We don't need to
It's
hear
true.
that.
I mean, there's so much. No, it's like, you forget, because it's like I said, a lot of these things come out of, nowhere, and it's all hands on deck, and you kind of just go, 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 and that's why our whole team, and listen, we're a small team, and that's what I really want to give credit to. We aren't like some massive entity. I mean, Project Independence is probably like a dozen people if we're including the nurses and social workers. We're not talking some kind of crazy amount of people, and I think that's my favorite part about doing these, yearly recaps and whatnot, because that's a time to kind of reflect and be like, oh my God, like look at all we've accomplished during a pandemic.
I need to interrupt you because I don't want this thought to slip my mind. But now I've been involved 3 or 4, well, X number of years with Project Independence and then with the radio show, etc. But the most important thing, I just lost my mic for a second there, that's why. But the most important thing that I have to acknowledge for anybody watching or listening is staff has not really grown. And we're over 15,000 members.
Yeah.
Programs are basically 24/7 almost, with TV, with radio, with Zumba and every other thing that you do over there. But we're not adding to staff. And so from a fiscally conservative supervisor that we have, the Judy Bosworth, you guys are just tremendous because you're getting it done and we're maintaining tax efficiency for the population of North Hempstead. Nothing but congratulations to everybody over there. And I just, listeners have to realize that you guys do the job and you do it well and you do it efficiently. And, that's it.
It's not a government bureaucracy. It's a team of a dozen people who are very committed to the mission of this program. And they deserve a tremendous amount of credit. People may look and think government. Well, this is government at its finest, in my opinion.
No, and it's just great. Like, listen, and I've been fortunate enough that when I started with the program, I was just, a baby in my career. I was literally just starting out. I was interning. I knew I wanted to work with seniors, and that's really just and just to be with this program that started and just to see the evolution of things. And I think, Otto's right. Otto's been with us. He knows it was very hard in the beginning. It's gotten certainly better because Project Independence has become more of a known thing and program as we've expanded. But in the beginning, it was like, no, your government, like, you're going to like rat me out. It became like this. It was this fear that people had. They just, like, look at it, Otto, what we went through with the Pioneer. People like, oh, throw it in the garbage. It's like some political, garbage or whatever. So it's evolved, and we worked hard to figure out ways to do that, and I have to say the Pioneer is one of my other projects that I do. And that's something that's really evolved too over the years, to figure out how to make it not look like, just every other mailer from the government, and that was something that the whole team and the town supervisor wanted to embrace too. And it's really just great. So stay tuned for your Pioneer because that should actually be coming soon.
I'm going to jump in again and this is just a compliment to Kristina, who I love dearly, and so does Otto. If she gets involved with it, it's done wonderfully, it's done correctly, it's done with class, and the Pioneer is one of those things, the emails that go out, and that's all. I just want to acknowledge, because I have to, she's like my daughter, how much Kristina puts into stuff is just amazing. And everybody in the town is very, very fortunate for that. That's all.
Thanks, John.
Think we like Kristina?
Thanks, guys. That's right. You tell them. You tell them all. Tell the listening people the truth.
That's why this show has evolved into the Kristina Wu show, actually.
I love it. So great. But I also, want to tell people, as we say, there are so many things going on in North Hempstead. And if you just call 311 or 869-6311, you could ask anything, and that's a little bit we were talking about too in the beginning, is that a lot of people just don't know how to start or where to begin or like what they're even looking for, half the time. And I've been there. I know that feeling, and the fact that we have this call center in North Hempstead that really serves as, a one-stop shop. We always say the fact that you could pick up that phone and say, I need blah, 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 and how many calls that we've received, someone will say, listen, I need my gutters cleaned. And then, they get connected to a social worker. And then just in the conversation, so much evolves from that, that they're, oh, I didn't know you did this. Oh, I'm looking for, so it really becomes this thing, and our social workers and nurses, I just can't say enough wonderful things about them all, because they are so dedicated and such team players. And a lot of them have been, here for so many years, so there's real invested interests, in this whole thing. And that's what made it a success. It's that personal component. It's especially when this whole COVID pandemic hit and everyone, and seniors especially, were trapped at home and scared and didn't know what was happening. It was the social workers and nurses. I mean, I received these calls and heard of these stories, about really that they were the lifelines. They were saying, they were giving them the, accurate, up-to-date information. They were easing their fears, connecting them to food and to the prescriptions. It was really became this kind of village mentality of, helping that senior and connecting all these pieces, so it's just to know that you're making a difference, in people's lives. And I feel, that, listen, I wish there was a way to quantify that. I'm the queen of trying to quantify all the work that we do. But unfortunately, a number just doesn't quite do it justice, most of the time. So I just have to say to the project independent social workers and nurses, they are just, amazing. So,
well, I think a big thing is the fact that there's a continuity of people. There's been very, very low turnover of people throughout this whole process. Right. And that includes, like, from the top, Paula, sure. Rebecca, and, who are like Paula's in the background. People probably don't hardly even know who Paula is, a lot of them, but she's very instrumental in having the right attitude for this program.
No, she's, and listen, she's my mommy, she's my work mommy, I like to call her. And she, I mean, listen, she was my mentor. She's the one who trained me, when I started. And the fact is, it's just, and that's right. There are so many people that are just, especially her, who, she oversees the whole social work nursing program, which is huge, so and listen, at a given day, you don't know what is going to be thrown at you. That's the thing with Project Independence. There could be like all of a sudden a flood of, really in-depth, rough cases, that you need to figure out and get connected to immediately. So it's certainly an incredible, and that's right, Otto. So kudos to the whole team over at PI, and it's just it's a great group of women. So I have to say,
it is.
I have to give them for a big clap.
We got to take another break. You're listening to Senior Talk Radio here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back.
So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios podcasts, available on any podcast app. You know, those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
Welcome back to Senior Talk Radio here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. This is Project Independence and You. I'm your host, John Ryan, and my co-host today is Otto Los. And believe it or not, the 2 hours has gone by. We're going into the last segment of the Kristina Lou Show. And I just want to talk about two things. The first one is we were acknowledging Project Independence and the staff over there, which is tremendous, and they kudos for what they've gone through with this pandemic. I also want to take on behalf of me and Otto and Kristina to acknowledge Dan Cox, because Dan is the one that's keeping this radio show going, and he's therefore keeping our TV program going. And without him, none of this would be possible whatsoever. He puts up with us, which is of itself, is tremendous. I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah, but John, we have to put up with Dan too.
As Otto said, listen, it works.
All right, Otto, that's where I draw the line.
Don't tell him that until the show's over. We can put the hold on us, Otto. Come on.
He's gonna cut that cord.
I mean, okay, keep going with the credit for Dan, John.
Yeah, remember, Otto, I can just cut you off immediately. I just hit a button and you're gone.
He's gonna permanently mute Otto. Oh, it's great. No,
But
it's
it's the
very
truth. I mean, when you got to look back, and what Deborah was saying earlier, you got to be appreciative, and you got to see who's touching who, and did we know it? And Dan is one of those people that he could have walked away from this. He still would get paid and say, "I'll see you whenever we're back." And a year would have went by.
Then his Fridays wouldn't be as fun.
No, it would have fallen apart, and it wouldn't be happening. Really, so for him, and I'm very sincere with that from all of us. Thank you. None of this would be happening without you. And now I'm going to share my acupuncture story.
Yes.
So, enough people listen to this. I have issues going on, but so I started acupuncture 2 weeks ago. And prior to my first acupuncture appointment, I was in a lot of pain. And Kristina sent me an amethyst heart, which I keep. And I have it in a little pouch that's in my bag. And so I went for my first acupuncture appointment, and the woman's going over my body, but I have this pouch in my hand, and she says to me, "You have a very strong connection of amethyst going through your body, and amethyst is a very healing stone." Okay, could have been a wild guess, but it was wow. So then she's talking to me, and then she says to me, "Your spirit animal is a white horse." I said, "A white horse? I don't know what you're talking about." I had no connection to it. And it was 20 minutes later when it hit me. About 2 months ago, I saw a picture on Facebook of a white horse. And it says, "This is getting harder," sighed the little boy. And then underneath it, it says, "Every step you take is a victory." And it's a white horse. So she tells me I have a connection to a white horse.
Wow.
And 20 minutes later, it hit me because I keep this on my desk because some days are not good. And if it wasn't for Peter's my white horse, ultimately. At the end of the day, he knows he's my white horse. This is what she hooked up with. That's my acupuncturist. I'm sticking with her. I was like, guess what? I'm supposed to be here with
I
you.
love it. I'm sticking with her. And you want to hear something weird? Is that one of my friends is very involved in acupuncture and Reiki and all these and crystal stuff. And I was having a conversation with her the other day. And what's weird, she said to me, "Do you have some kind of connection to horses?"
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I'm like, she's like, "You sure there's nothing in your house?" I was like, "Listen, lady, you haven't been in my house. There's probably God only knows what kind of stuff I've been." She's like, "You don't have any statues, anything?" I'm like, so then, and I was real, there's certain little things. I said, I love, a horse, and I've been talking about my husband, but it's very interesting, John. So that's what she was claiming as something that I'm very connected to. So
It's amazing. I agree. It's so, and she does a good job. I'm definitely feeling better with it. But those are two,
yeah,
and you have to be awake, and you have to be
open, right.
aware. I could have said that's just stupid and closed down.
Of course.
But I have nothing to lose by saying she's supposed to be with me at this point in my journey.
Yeah.
And we see where we go.
Listen, and I think that that's amazing, and I think that's the key. What you said is that you have to be open, right, to certain things. We were laughing during the break because I was saying, like, at this point, I'll give anything, a try that'll help out. But, it's, and I think that that's the thing. Like, listen, it won't work for certain people, these things.
100%, right.
It's just they're not, and I think a huge part of it is, you have to have a mind connection to certain things, and whether that's making it, better, whatever it is, at the end of the day, if it's working, it's working.
Right.
So,
How often do you go, John?
Twice a week.
Twice
I
a
go
week.
on Tuesday, right next door to my building, and on Saturday in Roslyn. They have 3 locations, and she was also very honest. She said, "Come for somewhere between 4, 5, and 6 weeks, twice a week. Then you should go to once a week, and then maybe once or twice a month. If you're doing this twice a week for 6 months, it's not working."
Mhm.
So, and I thought that was very honest too.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something, you keep going, and unfortunately it's not covered by insurance, which is fine.
But you know what? Some
it's not-
insurances are covered, and that's what's actually kind of interesting. And it'll probably increase because I know that my insurance actually covers, because a lot of women I work with, where they get their acupuncture done, it's
Oh,
covered
really?
by insurance. Yeah. So I know that, and I think that that's interesting too. And even massage is getting covered by, some of our insurance. And I think, but my point is that, these are things that, were considered kind of like whatever, and I think now though it's becoming more of, a great supplement. Listen, obviously there's certain times you need medicine, right? We're not
Right.
but I think that
I would never go for this and not take chemo.
right. But I mean, supplement. And I think the important is the, working together of it, and we've had doctors on the show before that have actually talked about that and how important it is to kind of have that like interlocking, of the two, kind of worlds, which I think is great. And I hope it works. And I like to hear that.
The mission, John, is to alleviate or minimize your pain that you're having.
Right.
Right.
I have the cancer's in my spine, and so it's rubbing on my nerves in my spine. So that causes pain in walking and whatever.
Right.
So that's the acupuncture. The cancer itself is 100% stable, which is the positive. But where it is, it
causes long-term,
right,
ongoing discomfort. Let's put it that way.
right.
More than discomfort, pain.
Tina knows much more about it than I do, but if they radiate that spot to shrink it, you also run the risk of it
coming
home. And then, so it's like, this is the best of all worlds at this point in time. So,
Yeah, and I think it's great, John. Listen, and John sits here, he gives credit to everyone, on this show, but I'm gonna have to flip it back to John, and I'm probably will cry because I feel it already, but you're a shining example of, being positive and trying new things. John's been through a rough road for years now. And I think that the fact that you are willing to try these new things, and I get these texts from him and he's always trying to be upbeat, about certain things. And I think that that's a testament to who you are. So.
Well, he's the poster child there, as far as I'm concerned. All right. He's a big child, of course, but he's a poster child. No question about it. I mean, if anybody handles adversity like John has been handling it, I'm sure John you have your days, and
Peter's in the office with me right now.
I mean, that would not be normal.
Peter's like, I've seen those days. Yeah. No, but it's true. But, and listen, everyone's entitled for those days, and it wouldn't be normal, if we can't, like I said, we can't all walk around, skipping, and, flying on clouds all day long. But,
this is a pretty open discussion for a public radio
I know we
slash
forget. That's our problem.
television
We forget we're
forum,
on air sometimes.
talking about the real stuff in life, basically, is what this comes down to. This is not a scripted show.
Yeah.
We're kind of just sitting there. If we had glasses of wine in front of us, it'd be like we were in.
Forget it. I'd be probably crying even more. No, no, but it's true. And these are real life. You're right, Otto. And we laugh because we forget sometimes that we're, frankly, being recorded. We just think we're, catching up and
having a little
life
chat, a little Friday morning chat, as Dan.
Yeah, right. We're just
therapy.
recapping our week.
This is everybody's therapy.
But it's real life stuff, and that's, you hit the nail on the head, Otto. It's stuff that everyone, has gone through or knows someone or has a varying, can relate to. And the bottom line, at the end of the day, the goal of this show always is to make someone feel better, educate them, give them some tips and suggestions, and, whatever you take from it. And I think that that's really kind of what this show has evolved to, and I wouldn't want it any other way. So.
Yeah, and I think we all understand that we are not in la la land. It sounds like it sometimes, and we do realize, we realize there are people out there who have really serious problems, and I empathize with them. There's a lot of hard stuff that goes on in life, and we can't fix all of that, but we can. Try a little bit, but but I think we all three and Dan all understand that there are people who are have some serious issues and some serious problems, and I guess all you can hope is that you do the best you can under the circumstances that you are given.
Absolutely.
Nobody asks you. My father he had stomach cancer, and he went on for quite a long time. To the point where he lost a lot of weight and the whole thing that goes along with it. But he always said to me, he'd say, no, I'd feel bad for him. And he'd say, well, nobody ever asked him how this was going to evolve. And it is what it is. And he had a great attitude. And I think we talked about the mentoring. I think some of that obviously rubbed off on me along the way. I'm not in that position right now, fortunately, but I will be. Who the hell knows what's coming? And you can't worry about that. That's why I'm a big one on one day at a time.
Totally. I know it's cliche, but listen, the amount of times if I had $1 for every time I said one day at a time.
Well, it's a fact. I mean, if you project out every circumstance in your life, you might as well get a gun and get it over with, to be cold about it. All right. That's not the way it works. You get one day at a time as a blessing, and then let's see where we go after that.
I know, and I say, listen, I'm a queen of all saying, fake it till you make it. So it's really a lot of times you have to. I'm a firm believer of trying to put that thought out there, and I get it. Listen, I am guilty all the time of getting down or worried or stressed. But I think I actively, and it's work, Otto says it all the time, you work to do it. So you got to try. At the end of the day, it's Friday, the sun is shining, and it is National Plant a Flower Day. So it's even more reason to kind of, be sunshiny about it. So that's how we'll leave it.
And we're done. So this has been another great show. I think I want to leave it with, in the town of North Hempstead, nobody is alone. If you want help, there's always somebody here with a helping hand to help you out. If you want to stay alone, that's your business, but you don't have to be. You've been listening to Senior Talk Radio here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you all next week.